A loud crash could be heard as Crescent rushed downstairs, crashing into the wall at the bottom of the staircase. She groaned and picked herself up, dusting off her skirt a bit.
Ugh! Ow. Uh...
เป็นไรไหมลูก
Her mum shouted from the kitchen.
I'm fine, Mom.
She said, walking to the kitchen. Crescent's mother sighed as she grabbed an ice bag from the freezer and gave it to her. They both sat on the table, where Larry was playing on his iPad and being ignorant of his sister's troubles as always.
Thank you. I've been having weird dreams recently.
Crescent's mother looked at her worried.
What dreams are you having? Are you having nightmares?
Her mum asked as she set the plate of food in front of her.
I don't know. Every time I wake up, I just forget instantly. I'm going to the forest today to clear my mind a bit.
Yo, who cares about your stupid dreams, sis? You know you have wild fantasies all the time.
Larry shouted, stuffing his face with food. Crescent's mum shot him a look, which made Larry settle down.
Well, clearly I'm not wanted here. I'll be heading out now. Come on, Crimson.
She said. The fox ran up to her and circled her.
I'll be back by sundown.
She said, walking to the front door.
Try not to die out there. It is, after all, it's kill or be killed world.
Larry shouted, laughing at his own joke. Crescent rolled her eyes and walked out of the house. She walked towards the forest, Crimson following close behind. They reached the edge of the forest and stopped to look around.
Oh, I wonder if we can find him.
Crescent said. Crimson seemed to dislike that idea, as she growled in response.
Aw, come on, don't be like that.
Crescent said jokingly. The two walked deeper into the forest. The sound of birds chirping in the trees filled the air. Crimson ran off to play, leaving Crescent alone.
Where could he be?
She said, looking around. She sat down on a large rock beside a small stream. She bent down to pick up a small pebble and threw it into the water, making a small splash. She sighed and stared at her reflection in the water.
You again.
Said Zalence, who was suddenly behind her. He startled her, causing her to fall off the rock.
Aha! There you are!
She exclaimed, still lying on the ground.
Why, were you looking for me?
He asked, reaching out his hand to help her up.
Well, you could say that.
She said, taking his hand. She pulled herself up and plucked off the leaves that were caught in her hair.
I just wanted to give you this as a thank you.
She said as she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small box. She handed it to him and smiled. He accepted the box from her and said,
Thank you? If I do recall, last time I tried to kill you and blast your head off, so I'm not entirely sure why you're giving this to me.
Well, yeah, you did try to do that, but I just wanted to thank you for helping Crimson the other day.
She explained. Zalence raised an eyebrow and proceeded to open the gift. Inside the box were dark chocolate cookies. He closed the box and thanked her once more.
So, do you live around here?
She asked as Crimson returned and ran up to her.
Well, yes, my house isn't far from here. I'm guessing you're going to want to come over.
Yes, please.
She answered.
All right, it's this way. Try not to get lost.
He turned around and slowly walked towards his house. Crescent followed him without a thought, while, on the other hand, Crimson was doubting and cautious of every step they took towards the house. They were walking for a little while. The path grew a bit treacherous.
Are you sure this is the right path? It looks like it leads to nowhere.
Of course it's the right path. I've been living here for ages.
He replied in a slightly annoyed tone. Crimson growled at him. He glanced over at the small animal. Crimson started barking at him, clearly growing very protective of her human companion. Zalence smirked at the fox's reaction and asked,
How long have you had your pet?
For quite some time, really. Why are you asking?
Well, I'm just not used to seeing a lot of animals that are this loyal to humans. It seems you two have known each other for a long time.
Crescent never thought about it like that. She always treated Crimson as a close friend, not a pet.
Ah, we're here.
said Zalence as he gestured towards a gigantic tree. Crescent tilted her head and looked at him in confusion. He knocked on the bark of the tree and a door swung open. He walked through the door and gestured for her to come in. She followed in as Crimson cautiously followed. Inside the tree looked like your average middle-class home, except everything was made of wood.
Everything's a bit of a mess right now, but try exploring around if you want. Just, don't open that door over there,
he said, pointing to a dark wooden door beside what seemed to be the kitchen. Crescent nodded, but still wondered what could be behind that door. She sat down on a small wooden chair situated beside a table. On the table was a small green glass bottle, which was labeled Cleaning. Purple smoke seemed to swirl inside it. Crescent eyed it curiously and tried to make out what exactly was inside the strange bottle.
So, do you live alone?
Crescent asked, still carefully eyeing the bottle.
No, actually, I have a roommate.
He answered. He snapped his fingers and the lid of the bottle flew open. Purple smoke spilled out of the bottle and swirled around on the floor.
Dahlia, make some tea for our guest, would you? And clean this place up, we're long overdue.
He said. The smoke from the bottle twisted and turned, forming the shape of a small girl wearing a maid uniform with her hair tied up. Every part of her body was purple, except for her eyes, which were white and devoid of irises. The same purplish aura seen in Zalence's magic seemed to form around her. She nodded at Zalence's orders and quickly walked to the kitchen. Crescent was quite shocked at what she'd just seen.
Crescent, this is Dahlia. She helps around and keeps the place clean,
he introduced.
Wow, I've never seen anything like this before,
she said. Dahlia finished brewing the tea and walked over to Crescent, handing her the cup. Crescent thanked her and Dahlia walked away. She took a sip of the tea and asked,
So what exactly are you? I mean, you obviously aren't human from what I can tell.
Wow, I wonder what gave that away,
he said sarcastically. Crescent then asked,
So what's behind that door, and how is what you do possible? I thought magic wasn't real.
Okay, first of all, I am a demon. Second, hard to explain since you humans don't naturally have raw magical abilities. And as for what's behind that door, that is none of your business,
he answered, narrowing his eyes. Crescent looked at the door, then back at Zalence, and sighed softly.
Okay, fine, you win.
Good, glad we got that settled.
As he walked away, he had a sigh of relief. Crescent sat down as Crimson jumped on her lap and fell asleep. Crescent had a feeling that Zalence was hiding something behind it.
So, does this mean witches, wizards, and other magical people don't exist? Well, since humans can't use magic.
She continued asking.
Well, no, not exactly. You humans might not have raw magic, but that never stopped you from finding ways to harness and wield magic yourselves. It's quite fascinating, really. But I haven't seen a human magic wielder in a long time,
he said, looking down at the ground. Crescent frowned slightly and looked up at him. She then asked,
So what do you do around here?
Well, I usually just wander around the forest. I hardly ever stay here since there's not much to do.
Oh, have you ever gone to the local market?
No, I didn't even know there was a market.
Well, what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Are you sure? I feel like I'd be noticed.
Come on, you look mostly human. No one is gonna notice you unless they're a creep.
Yeah, sure. Nothing wrong with trying, I guess.
As he stood up, the fox became cautious once again.
Assuming that thing doesn't kill me first,
he said jokingly. They soon arrived at the market and began exploring. Crescent showed her friend around, convincing him to try food and showing him new things. They eventually settled down to eat noodles at a small outdoor restaurant nearby.
So, how do you like it?
It's nice. I've forgotten how much I miss this. It's weird, too. So much has changed around here.
Why didn't you come to the town more often? I mean, from what you said, it seems like you haven't visited actual civilizations in a while.
It's, complicated. I don't think you'd believe my story.
Fine, don't tell me then.
She teased. Zalence flicked his finger, his magic causing her chair to jump up a bit. Crescent yelped, almost falling out of the chair. They both laughed. A waiter walked over to their table to serve their food.
Here's your order, sir? Ma'am?
Yeah, you got it right the first time.
He said, which only seemed to confuse her more. She set the food down in front of them, and they began eating. After they finished, they headed out of the market.
So, how'd you like the food?
Oh, it was great. I haven't eaten like that since... Well, I guess I don't really remember. Come to think of it, I haven't eaten at all in a while, huh?
Well, you should really take care of yourself more,
said Crescent. They paused on the outskirts of town, and Zalence asked,
So, is that it?
Hey, how about you coming to my house?
Wait, so we break into your house?
No, not steal, but we can get in without being noticed.
So we teleport into your house at midnight, and what if anyone sees us? Do we kill them?
No, and no. We can go through the front door. You are a demon and all that. Can't you just shapeshift or something?
Ah, but into what? An animal? The fox?
Crimson turned to Zalence, shooting him a look.
No, can't you just,
She thought for a second.
Aha! Why won't you turn into a young kid just like that one?
She pointed at a random young boy who was just sitting on his skateboard.
Wow, okay, I guess I could do that.
He snapped his fingers and transformed into an exact replica of the teenager that was sitting across from them. The boy suddenly stood up and looked towards Zalence. He saw himself and stood still in fear. He quickly gathered himself and swiftly took off on his skateboard. Crescent laughed nervously and quickly grabbed Zalence and ducked behind a wall-like structure.
Okay, maybe don't steal someone else's identity. Can you just, I don't know, just become a child?
Oh, you just wanted me to be a younger version of myself. Ah, gotcha.
He snapped his fingers again, transforming into a younger version of himself with longer hair, wearing a purple vest and a jabot. There were small horns on his head.
There, exactly how I looked like a long time ago. Yes, I know I was short, deal with it.
Yeah, I guess. Could you maybe lose the horns?
Zalence rolled his eyes, but did as she requested.
Great! No one will suspect a thing. Now let's go to my house.
After 5 minutes of walking, they found Crescent's house, and someone wasn't looking too happy to see Crescent.
Okay, miss, where have you been? Mother has been worried sick of you, and I was forced to go search for you instead of playing games with my boys. So you'd better explain yourself before I tell Mom that you went to someone's house.
Crescent and Zalence looked at each other as they tried to think of a reason.
Well, at least I got someone. Who do you have?
The comeback that came from Crescent hit Larry pretty badly. He was weak from the attack, but managed to utter some words.
My ego! You broke it down! You monster!
He groaned in pain and retreated back inside as Zalence stared at Crescent in confusion. Crescent explained.
Oh, don't worry. This is very common with us. Every time he gets roasted by anyone, he falls down in pain and retreats to regain his ego. Pretty much stamina points, as he said. You know, basic sibling stuff.
Oh, what?
It's not important. Come on, let's go inside and introduce you to my mom.
As Zalence and Crescent entered the house, they saw her brother moaning, going back into his domain. Her mother was sitting and looking towards her baby and the strangers she brought back.
ลูกไปไหนมา
Mom, I'm fine. I just went on a little adventure.
Crescent responded.
Okay, but who's this handsome young devil you brought back,
Crescent's mom turned her attention towards Zalence. He gulped and politely waved hello.
Now, don't be shy. What's your name, little one? It's Zalence, ma'am. God damn it, woman.
he muttered under his breath. He stopped as Crescent looked at him, just smiling. A little guilt showed on his face. Zalence sighed as he reassured himself that it won't be long. They went up to Crescent and Larry's room, and Crescent locked her door to stop her brother from barging in.
And we should be good now,
she said as Zalence transformed into his usual form and started looking around.
So I need to stay transformed around your mom because she'd flip if she ever saw me this way, right?
He asked while inspecting the pile of candy wrappers left on the ground by Larry.
Yep, she'd end me if she ever found out. Don't tell Larry either. That boy can't keep his mouth shut.
I heard that, sis!
Shouted Larry from another room. Crescent rolled her eyes, looking at Zalence.
Looks like we'll need to be a little quieter.
May I stab your brother?
I don't think my mom would be too glad about that,
she said with a nervous laugh. She pulled out a stack of paper and a couple pencils from one of the cupboards in her room and handed them to Zalence.
Here, you can draw something if you like,
she said, smiling. He took the pencil and paper from her and started drawing. Zalence watched as Crescent drew random lines across the paper. Confused, he started breaking the pencil. Crescent looked at him and asked,
"What are you doing? Aren't you going to draw?"
Draw? Well, I never really learned how to...
Just then the door creaked open. Zalence frantically transformed into his disguise just in time as Crescent's mom walked in.
Do you kids want any snacks or drinks?
No thanks, Mom. We're good.
Okay, let me know if you need anything.
She smiled and left the room, closing the door behind her. Crescent and Zalence let out a huge sigh as she left.
Oh, God, that was close.
Yeah, too close. I think I should go.
Crescent nodded in agreement. They both got up and left the room. Larry blocked their path in front of the staircase.
So, what were you doing?
Nothing. We were just drawing.
He scoffed and raised an eyebrow.
What were you saying about me that I can't find out about?
It's nothing, Larry. We were just talking.
Talking about me? So what did you tell your girlfriend about how annoying I am?
He's not my... whatever. Just get out of the way.
She pushed her brother to the side.
You hit me? Your brother? How dare you? Mom! She hit me and she chose that bastard over me and also talked about me.
Okay, sweetie.
Mom! You dare betray me? Fine, get out, boy. I know what you will do to my sister.
Wait, excuse me, what now?
His eyes flashed, revealing his, natural demon eyes for a moment.
Very funny, Larry. Well, we better go, huh, Zalence?
She quickly turned her friend around and rushed him downstairs, leaving Larry very suspicious.
You gotta be more careful. He already seems suspicious.
Yeah, I don't take annoying kids very well.
They walked over to say goodbye to Crescent's mom.
Leaving so soon? Don't you want to stay for dinner?
He has to go. He, has,
She looked over at Zalence.
Oh, yes, I need to go see my dad. Yeah.
He said, nervously trailing off at the end.
Oh, okay, I see. It's getting late. Do you want me to drop you off at your house? No, that's okay. Thank you, Mrs.
Walter.
Crescent whispered.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Walter, for having me over. I can go back myself.
He said, walking over to the front door. Crimson growled at him as Crescent walked over to open the door.
See ya.
Have a safe trip.
She opened the door and let him outside. He sighed as he made his way out of town, changing back into his original form as he reached the forest. A pair of peculiar green eyes carefully observed him from the nearby bush.
Well. Found a little friend, I see. We'll be formally acquainted soon, demon.
Crescent sat at the table with her mom and brother having dinner.
Did you have a good time with your friend today?
Yeah, we had a great time until someone decided to barge in.
I'm telling you, there's something awfully strange about that guy.
Well, he sure is unique. He seems to come from quite the wealthy family, judging by his clothes. And does he dye his hair?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't buy it. You two are hiding something. I just know it. แม่ต้องเชื่อผมนะ
Larry, you're being ridiculous.
แม่ก็ไม่รู้เหมือนกันเลิกทะเลาะกันได้แล้ว